Welcome to the reading of the Sabbath School lesson for the second quarter of 2022. Welcome to lesson number 5 in the series on Genesis. It's titled All Nations and Babel, and it's ready for teaching on April 30, and I'm Percy Harrold. Wednesday, April 27, Let us go down. Read Genesis chapter 11, verses 5 to 7, and Psalm 139, 7 to 12. Why did God come down to the earth here? What was the event that motivated this divine reaction? Genesis 11, beginning at verse 5. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. Now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down and there confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. And Psalm 139, beginning at verse 7. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend into heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning, and dwell in the uttermost part of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, Surely the darkness shall fall on me, even the night shall be light about me. Indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. Ironically, although the men were going up, God had to come down to them. The descent of God is an affirmation of his supremacy. God will always be beyond our human reach. Any human effort to rise up to him and to meet him in heaven is useless and ridiculous. No question. That's why, in order to save us, Jesus came down to us. There was indeed no other way for him to save us. A great irony in the Tower of Babel account is seen in God's statement, to see the city and the tower, as we read in Genesis 11, verse 5. God did not have to come down to see. We read that in Psalm 139, 7 to 12, and in Psalm 2, verse 4, it reads, He who sits in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall hold them in derision. But he did so anyway. The concept emphasizes God's involvement with humanity. Read Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 23. What does this teach us about God's coming down to us? Luke 1, beginning at verse 26. Now, in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent by God to a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. The virgin's name was Mary, and having come in, the angel said to her, Rejoice, highly favoured one, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women. But when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and considered what manner of greeting this was. Then the angel said to her, Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favour with God. And behold, you will conceive in your womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. He will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord God will give him the throne of his father David. And he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. The descent of God reminds us also of the principle of righteousness by faith and the process of God's grace. Whatever work we may perform for God, he will still have to come down to meet us. It is not what we do for God that will bring us to him and to redemption. Instead, it is God's move toward us that will save us. In fact, the text in Genesis talks twice about God going down, which seems to imply how much he cared about what was happening there. According to the text, the Lord wanted to put an end to the people's deep-seated unity, which, given their fallen state, could lead only to more and more evil. That's why he chose to confuse their languages, which would bring an end to their united schemes. Ellen White writes in Patriarchs and Prophets, page 123, "The schemes of the Babel builders ended in shame and defeat. The monument to their pride became the memorial of their folly. Yet men are continually pursuing the same course, depending upon self and rejecting God's law. It is the principle that Satan tried to carry out in heaven, the same that governed Cain in presenting his offering." End of quote. And so to finish today, how do we see in the Tower of Babel account another example of human hubris and how ultimately it will fail? What personal lessons can we take from this story? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind, and It Is Written. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. Remember, God is always faithful.